"Listen," she said, "will you do me a favor? The thing is," it seemed that all the slender strength of her back was needed to keep her voice from wavering. "The thing is, Millie and Shep wanted us to go out with them afterwards. You say we can't. Say it's because of a babysitter or something." He moved to the wall and stiff-leggedly stood there, humped shoulders, hands in his pockets, like a stage lawyer considering a fine point of ethics. "Well," he said, "thing is, I already told him we'd come." "Oh. Well then would you mind going out and telling them you were mistaken? That we won't be making it. Should be simple enough." "Look," he said, "don't start getting this way. Saying you were mistaken. You know, the point is it might be fun and all. Besides, I mean, it's gonna look kinda rude if we don't go, won't it?" "You mean you won't?" She closed her eyes. "All right. I will then. Thanks a lot." Her face in the mirror, nude and shining with cold cream, looked 40 years old, as haggard as if she were set to endure physical pain. "Wait a second," he told her. "Take it easy, will you, please? I didn't say that. I just said they're going to think it's damn rude, that's all. And they are. I can't help that. All right, you go with them and give me the keys." "Oh, Jesus, don't start this business with the car again. Why do you always—" "Look, Frank." Her eyes were still shut. "I'm not going out with those people. I don't happen to feel very well. Okay." He's backing away, holding out both stiff, trembling hands like a man intently describing the length of a short fish. "Okay, okay, I'm sorry. I'll tell them. I'll be right back. I'm sorry." The floor rode under his feet like a deck of a moving ship, and he made his way back to the wings, where a man was taking pictures with a miniature flash camera. "Hold it now. That's fine, that's fine." The actor who played Gabriella's father was telling the plump girl, who looked ready to cry again, the only thing to do was to write the whole thing up as experience. "You folks about ready?" Shep demanded. "Well," said Frank, "I'm afraid we'll have to cut out. April promised the babysitter we'd be back, and yeah, we really need to be back for that babysitter." Both their faces sagged in hurt and disappointment. Millie drew a section of her lower lip below her teeth and slowly released it. "Gee," she said, "I guess April feels really awful about the whole thing, don't she? Poor kid." "No, no, she's all right. Really, it's not that," he said. "She's okay, just the business of the babysitter, you see." It's the first kind of lie that had existed in this friendship in the 2 years, and it caused all three of them to look at the floor as they labored through a halting ritual of smiles and good nights, but it couldn't be helped. She was waiting for him in the dressing room, ready with a pleasant social face for any of the Laurel players they might happen to meet on the way out. They managed to avoid them all. She led him through a side door that opened onto 50 yards of empty, echoing high school corridor, and they walked without touching each other, without speaking, moving in and out of the oblongs of moonlight that lay on the marble floor. The smell of school in the darkness, pencils and apples, and library paste, brought a sweet nostalgic pain to his eyes, and he was 14 again. And it was this year that he lived in Chester, Pennsylvania. No, in Englewood, New Jersey, and spent all his free time in a plan for riding the rails to the West Coast. He traced several alternate new routes on a railroad map, and rehearsed many times the way he would handle himself, politely but with fist if necessary, in the hobo jungles along the way. And he'd chosen all the items of his wardrobe from the window of an Army and Navy store. Levi jacket and pants, an Army-type khaki shirt with shoulder tabs, high-cut work shirts with steel caps at heel and toe, an old felt hat of his father's, which could be made to fit with a wad of newspaper folded into its sweatband. That hat would bring the right note of honest poverty to the outfit. He could take whatever else he needed in his Boy Scout knapsack, artfully reinforced with tape covering up the Boy Scout medallions. The best thing about the plan was its absolute secrecy, until the day in the school corridor when he impulsively asked a fat boy named Krebs if he'd like to come along. Krebs was dumbfounded. On a freight train? You mean? And soon he was laughing out loud. Geez, you kill me, Wheeler. How far do you think you'd get on a freight train? Where do you get these weird ideas anyways? The movies or something? You want to know something, Wheeler? You want to know why everybody in school thinks you're a jerk? Because you're a jerk. That's why. Walking now through the same smells and looking at the pale shape of April's profile as she walked beside him, he allowed his rising sense of poignance to encompass her as well, the sadness of her own childhood. He wasn't often able to do this, for most of her memories were crisply told and hard to sentimentalize. I always knew nobody cared about me, and I never let anybody know I knew. And I always let them know I knew. But the school smell made him think of one particular time she told him about, a morning in Rye County, where a menstrual flow of unusual suddenness, and volume had taken her by surprise in the middle of a class. First I just sat there, she told him. That was the stupid thing. Then it was too late. And he thought of how she must have leapt from her desk and run from the room with a red stain the size of a maple leaf on the seat of her white linen skirt, while 30 boys and girls looked up in dumb surprise. How she must have fled down the corridor in a nightmarish silence, past the doors of other murmuring classrooms, spilling books and picking them up and running again, leaving a tidy, well-spaced little trail of blood droplets on the floor. How she had run to the first aid room, been afraid to go inside, and now instead ran down the other corridor to the fire exit. She pulled off her cardigan, tied it round her waist and hips. How then, imagining the approaching footsteps in her wake, she pushed through to the sunny lawn outside and set off for home, walking not too quickly and with her head high, so that anyone happening to glance from many of the hundreds of windows would think it on some normal, perfect mission from school, wearing her sweater in a perfectly normal manner. Her face must have looked almost exactly the way it did now, as they opened this fire exit door and walked out across these outer school grounds, not many miles from Rye. Her way of walking must have been similar too. He had hoped she would sit close to him in the car. He wanted to hold her shoulders while he drove, but she made herself very small and pressed against the glass while he drove, turning away to watch the passenger lights and shadows of the road. This caused his eyes to grow round and his mouth solemn as he steered and shifted gears, until finally, licking his lips, he thought of something to say. You know something? You were the only person in the whole play tonight. No kidding, April, I mean it. All right, thanks, she said. It's just that we should have never let you get mixed up in the damn thing is all. With his free hand he opened his collar, both to cool his neck and to find reassurance in the grown-up sophisticated feel of the silk tie and Oxford shirt. It's just, I'd just like to get my hands on that guy, what's his name, the director there. It wasn't his fault. Well, the whole damn pack of them then. God knows they all stank. The whole point is we should have known better in the first place. I should have known better. That's what it amounts to. Never would have joined the damn group if Campbell's and I hadn't talked you into it. Remember when we first heard about it, and you said you'd probably turn out to be a bunch of idiots? I should have listened to you. That's all. All right. Can we sort of stop talking about it now? Sure, we will. He tried to pat her thigh, but it was out of reach, way across the wide seat. Sure we will. I just don't want you feeling bad about it, that's all. With a confident, fluid grace, he steered the car out of the bouncing side road and onto the hard, clean straightaway of Route 12, feeling that his attitude was on solid ground at last. A refreshing wind rustled in his ruffled short hair and cooled his reins, and he began to see the fiasco of the Laurel Players in its true perspective. It wasn't worth feeling bad about. Intelligent thinking people could take things like this in stride, just as they took the larger absurdities of deadly dull jobs in the city and deadly dull homes in the suburbs in stride. Economic circumstance might force you to live in this environment. The important thing was to keep from being contaminated. The important thing, always, was to remember who you were.